Well, we've got more news on Voyage of the Dawn Treader. It's been a long time since my last video blog just because of, well, exams and classes and such. But we do have a new release date. It is officially 12/10/2010, and I could see this coming. I'll just say it. I mean, I think Glenn Puddle and I were talking about this a while ago, and it was pretty obvious that they were going to change the release date, especially with the whole delay with filming and such. But I think I feel so good about it. I feel so good about a December release. Harry Potter comes out in November, so we'll have Potter out of the way, and I think the December release has worked really well for the Lord of the Rings. Which is interesting because the Lord of the Rings could have been action films, you know, and Prince Caspian was supposed to be this big action film that Disney was going to have, and it didn't work out. But the Lord of the Rings, it just, that worked better as a family film. Harry Potter, I don't know, it seems to work better as holiday-ish films, and I think that Voyage of the Dawn Treader is going to be a lot better off as a December film. So I'm pretty happy about that. I think that this one's going to stick. I don't see why they would change it unless there's some new hiccup and they decide, okay, we're going to have to move it to something else, some other day or something. They might move it forward. They might adjust it a little bit. Probably one of the most interesting release date changes I saw was Terminator Salvation. They moved it one day forward, which I'm going, okay, it's Thursday instead of Friday, fine. But now I think that this one is going to be better. Let me see why. This one was going to be better. First of all, it's going to fit better with the competition. You're not going to have it competing against the other films coming out that summer, and there's not a lot coming out. But still, summer is going to be the action films, and you don't really want Narnia being a family film. And this one's not action. I mean, this one might have some action. There's a sea serpent and some stuff, but I think it's going to work so much better for a family film, and that kind of thematically, the second reason, not just is going to have better, less competition, but it's just better for what families want to do when it's cold out. People want to say, well, we can't go to the park, we can't go to the beach, and we can't do this or that. Let's go to the movie. And I think the reason that Narnia, the Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe worked so well is that it was one of those films where people would go to see it with their families, and then family would come in for Christmas, and they'd already seen it, and they said, oh, well, maybe we should go, watch a movie, if movie's good. Oh, the Chronicles of Narnia was pretty good, and it's a film the whole family can see, and people will go to see it again and again. And I think that that's why the first film did so well, is because of the repeat and the time of year, and it worked well for. I saw Prince Caspian 2 or 3 times in theaters. I think I saw the first one five times in theaters. Yeah, I mean, it was just a different time of year where people aren't, doing stuff because people think, oh, summer, no one's doing anything, and so they schedule everything for summer. Also, we found out that it's likely going to be Australia instead of Mexico. Not a lot of thoughts about that. Mexico, I know there's I think some great areas around the tropical areas that they could have filmed, but I feel pretty good about it. I think that Australia, if they can keep it located into pretty much one location, that's what I care about most. If they wanted to film in Australia, fine. If they wanted to film in New Zealand, fine. If they wanted to film in Mexico, fine. But I think that one of the reasons that the first one cost so much money is that they would ramp up the cost because they were going everywhere. They were in Prague, they were in New Zealand, they were all over the place. And I think that if they can keep it located around one area, which shouldn't be that hard because a lot of it takes place on the ocean, it's at sea, and it's not going to be a big deal if they move if it's in. I mean, really, what do you have? You have well, there's the. I mean, really, you have some stuff they could basically the stuff at the beginning with the Pevensies at Eustace's house that could be on a soundstage, and they might have something with the train station because they like trains so far, and but then there's the different islands, and I'd kind of like for the islands to have some variety. Uh, for instance, Arkin's Island, we kind of get this from the books. I'm not just making this up. Arkin's Island is more manicured. The lawns are short, they're clipped. It's very well taken care of. I would like that island to actually look sort of European, uh, you know, or some like it's a some wealthy family estate, something like that. And then of course you have the Dragon Island, which was more got the more foresty. Then you could have maybe a kind of a jungle island for the Deathwater. And I think if they could do that, and I don't know a lot about Australia. I have friends who are there, and so if there's any people who are watching this who are Australians, please comment, talk about what places you'd like for them to film in, because I do know that Australia is huge, and I do know that it has a lot of land that they could film in. So that's what I'd like for them to see, and I'm sure that there's lots of places that they could film. And yeah, I'm not sure. And apparently, there's going to be, I think the lowering value of the Australian dollar is playing a factor into this too. So, oh, and I almost forgot. One of the really big pieces of news is his name's Michael Petroni. I hope I'm pronouncing his name right. He's a new scriptwriter that was brought in to work on the movie. It just says, and Douglas Gresham has confirmed that he's working on it. And yeah, it's I mean, it's interesting because they had what was his name? He did Freedom Riders, excellent movie by the way. Um, they had Stephen Marcus and then Christopher McFeely. Okay, his name is Richard Lagravanis. I'm gonna butcher his name. Richard Lagravanis, I'll say, was working on it, and that was less than a month ago. We heard that, but now this guy it says is taken over, and I don't know. I think I. I'm not sure. I mean, I don't know a lot about this guy. I've looked at some of the films he's done. None of them jumped out as being particularly good for Narnia. I don't know. Just, I feel a little bit nervous. He can't do any worse than the script that was leaked a while ago. That was a disaster and was more extreme than any April Fool's joke we could have come up with. But I think. I don't know. I do like that it's more of one guy now. If I had to choose numbers, I'd rather it be more like one guy than three, four, five. But then there's been this long, like with the Lord of the Rings, you had Fran Walsh and Peter Jackson and Philip Boyens, who had this long process for years, who were in the same people working on it continuously, and they had this great brainstorming process going on, and they could take an idea, say, well, this idea would work better than what I was in the books, and they could take it and develop it and actually make it work. They could take another idea and say, well, this works better than the books, take it down, see that no, this isn't going to work. They can go back to the books. And that happened several times with several different cases, and I'm not sure how much of a process this guy is going to have. And we don't know how much he's kept, how much of it's going to be, okay, here's a script, I'm just going to rewrite it, or if he's started from scratch and then added stuff. We don't know. I'm a little more pessimistic about the scriptwriter situation. It could be good. I really liked the fact that Richard Lagravanis was at least working on it because just for plain script quality, he had good dialogue in Freedom Riders. He knows how to flow a story. He knows how to engage an audience in a story, and that's something really important for any movie. So I feel okay. I'm not too optimistic about the script bit, but that's largely out of ignorance. I don't know a lot about what's going on. I can only speculate so much. So, great news. Release date. The Australia filming. Okay, good. Way to go, Australia. Australia. And hope it goes well down there. Script writers need some more information. So, overall, I'm feeling pretty good about the film. Certainly feeling better than I did about the first one. So, all right. Till next time, further up and further in, and hopefully I'll get some more stuff out soon. It's not be bogged down by all my exams. So.